Okay, welcome to our fast tour of website builders with a focus on schools and courses and nonprofits, nonprofit management. What is the best website builder? We've got our group in our chat joining, and we've got international TV and radio joining. Let's admit the rest of our guests and we will get started. Oh, you're out in your garden.
Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning. I see you're out in your garden today. How nice.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen here and get started. All righty, share screen, share. Okay, let me see if I can, all righty, that should be sharing now. And then let's over here and see if we can get, okay, good. Now, we might change this down here. Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Good. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick run through of several different builders, including Apricot and Wix and Weebly, and show you some of the differences here. Just a real high speed kind of, because you do this stuff all the time, so should be kind of easy for you. I'll also record this so you can look back if there's anything that you have questions on later.
Okay.
I'm going to start out, well, first of all, there's the basic kind of differences between the different builders and what they're trying to do with your expertise, but which is the databases underlying them. Give you an example. This is Wix's basically their home site, and this is their landing page. And you won't see on your mobile a little hamburger menu up here that asks for pricing and all that, because on landing pages, and you'll see that Apricot and as well as Weebly, as well as Podia, all have landing page options like this for decisions for people that want to join your membership or just contribute. And so you'll actually see things like, a maximum of 9 panels usually, and it's just a quick word, action step, and then a button. So we've got, hey, we're the leader. We have all kinds of wonderful templates. Start now. Let's try out with all these great templates. And Wix doesn't have minimalist templates like Podia or like you'll find with Apricot, which I'll show you. There are selections where you say, in other words, you can't really build this directly out of a template, their own site, because you have to take a bigger one and then eliminate the others. That's called build up versus build down. And Wix is a build down, so it's from a top down system. So when you pick a template, as you know, you get all these great things, but you don't get one like this. You get many columns, templates, pieces, and stuff like that. As an example, let's see if I've got an example. That's Moodle. What do we got here? That's Apricot. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is just a template from Wix for a nonprofit, where all we always said are to start with is, we're nonprofits. Let's help us get started. So we got all these sections: pictorial to glance, activities, articles about us. This is obviously the builder, so it's got all of the ways you can edit it too. But so you told them we're a nonprofit, we do these certain things, and as you know, then you get all these cool things, testimonials, and this is top down. So in other words, if I want to do a landing page that's mobile friendly, I have to personally make sure, by looking at the mobile and then at the different types of ways to view it, whether it'll work on mobile, whether it'll be too much. Usually 3 columns are too much, because then they're scrolling down to the bottom of their cell phone and they hit the floor. But so this is an awful lot that you get initially, as you know, with that template. Similarly, well, let's see. This is like our landing page, obviously, on Podia, but we have numerous things behind it, as you know, like memberships. There's just a login there, but we have separate pages of different feeder websites that we can build free on Weebly type things, as well as Podia. You have unlimited landing pages on Podia, as you do on Apricot, where you can create individual product landing pages, etc., and build those just like you would on Wix. So the builder on this, which I'll show you in a second, is very similar. I'll do the Belmont one just as an example, to Wix and many others where they're drag and drop. Now they're just called, these of course are called sections here, but they're also called, gadgets, they're called plugins, many things like that. So
Mhm.
that just to give you another example of how that works. And then on the actual, let's jump over here to Apricot. This would be an Apricot builder. And of course they've got different, you can add your pages and have menus across the top like this. That would be a website that is oriented towards, mostly towards computers, like a membership site that has courses like we're going to do, or the classes for the students. There's things they can pick up, email your instructor, etc., like that. Landing pages. Now there is a template here on Apricot where you could actually do a landing page, or you have a simple, clean, like Wix or Weebly, 5 or 6 panels, and then you jump when you want to go. The problem with doing a full one like this, and this is actually on Apricot, but you can pick the templates. It's just a landing page there also, is that this doesn't work very well on mobile, and people tune out and they can't find what they need and they get frustrated. In a big site like this isn't a problem. This is a joint venture site that's hosted on Apricot, that is a demo site for Podia, Apricot, and Sakai, which is a learning management system. And I'll show you an example of how Sakai ties in. But in your question, how do you do memberships as databases? And that we'll show you how you do it on Podia in just a second. But here it's very similar. You would actually go back to the home, and here this is obviously we picked the website on the left. So if you want to change this on the top, you have to get away from the home page and get into actually page templates and reset the template so that you can drop down something. This of course is just the home template, so you jump to there, and then you can actually edit this now, the template. You can't preview because you have to actually click edit here and then edit it. But what's cool about what you'll find that you really like about that Wix doesn't have, and even Podia have to get behind it. It's very obvious here on Apricot that you can jump to the system pages, which means you've got all of your databases, your memberships, etc., like that, your contact profiles, your pages, your type forms, and that kind of stuff that you can then drop into, and how the members see it into the website itself. So you can use your website for forms and that kind of stuff, files, colors, styles, and all that other stuff. And of course, it's got themes and overrides, and you won't be using CSS, but that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. And then of course, when you're setting it up, this is just, I'm showing you the website side of it, but in Apricot, there's many, of course, it's way more than a site builder. That's just one feature. It's also got all the events. Stop already, guys. It's got the events, your memberships, your store, donation, finances, email settings, the account, and all that good stuff. So basically, it's really a management system for nonprofits, not just the website. When you go over the website, then you get the website and the builders and all that good stuff, but you can set up your store, your donations, your memberships. And I'll show you as an example what we do with that in the other interfaces in a second on Podia. But and this is an example, another example, that there's one that was done in an older version of Wix. This is done in Weebly, but also SiteGround websites have everything you want to have. Pick any builder you want, as does Hover. And so as a big industrial programmer with 500-600 different website, over 1,000 domains, we use just the hosting platform and then go into the cPanel. But this is just an example of another builder. But this one is bottom up rather than top down. And I'll just show you a good example of how that's different. You know Wix real well, so you know how the whole full template works. This one, as you can see, are sections just like any other sections. The builder is similar, very similar to Wix, except it's through the host, so it's a little clearer. But you have all your modules and plugins, SQL service, databases, all that down here. Then you can pick a section and drop down here and things with different section structures, dividers, spacers. Here's your video like you're talking about, or an audio or podcast, or you can pick a YouTube, like you said before, and show a YouTube. So we've taken these slideshows, we create GIFs. If you need GIFs, we'll create them for you all day long, which are, mobile features. We have all kinds of software for doing that. But this is just an example where we picked a slideshow version that would also show GIFs so that we have some good splash and color on it, but also works well with mobile, because when you look down the mobile, it shows you the mobile version. And you can do that here. Just say, hey, what's it going to look like on my cell phone? It'll bring up the cell phone instead of the screen, and all the good ones do that. You have to make your screen smaller on Wix as well as on Podia. It shows both, but you can also do that on Apricot, where you see which size it is by choosing the thing. Now here's an embedded YouTube. And so that's, we picked a double pane here, put a photo and type in it, switch the two around for another GIF here to explain it. We have some quotes by Baha'i here. This is a triple one I'll show you in a second. That is like a 3-column version, but when you put it to the mobile, it shows this, this, and this. And you know, we're being careful not to go over our 7 to 9 sections because it is a landing page. This then would be a course page for something like Buddhism and the Baha'i faith that would then feed, and where it says this is Belmont Baha'i School's workshops and courses. We've got 20 of these designed for potential courses, and we'll just, you know, keep them to the side if you guys decide you do want to do courses at some time, because this would go on social media and it'd go into the group of like 27,000 people of New Age that say, I'm interested in Buddhism and the Baha'i faith. Then they'd land on this rather than a big site with memberships and all that. They'd hit join us, and this course goes to the Belmont site. Well, it will go to your Belmont site when you want it. We'll put that link on there if you want to do it. So now to give you an example, that's sort of an example of how that's been built with it, that would be built in Wix or Wiki. These are almost 600, 700, 800 different websites we've got. I've got 1 or 2 that we haven't started yet for our students. We give our students individual sites when we teach them how to program. But you'll see many of these, you'll see Wix, Weebly, Podia, teacher list. And then as you go down here, I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds. We won't get into all these, but what I want to show you is a couple little quick special needs. Let's see, one of these are going to come up one of these days. I mean, it's hard to get through when you got, you know, we've had up to 5,000 6,000 websites at one time when I had a whole big staff. Now there's just a few of us. So since I'm supposedly semi-retired, I don't know about that. All right, let me grab my little thing down here so I can pull down. It might be a little easier. There we go. There's a couple of WordPress sites. And there's another WordPress, Wix, Weebly, Podia Hook, another couple webs, and we should get some. All right, there's some Joomlas. So we got some Joomlas here and some Ruby on Rails and cPanels. So basically, when you have a big host like that, you can pick whatever you want, and that's the same way it is on Hover. Like this is Belmont Baha'i School, right? And let me get this kind of out of our way so you can see this. This is how you'd enter. You point it toward your site now with a CMain, a text record, or what kind of A records, MX records, whatever you want. I'll get that all pointed towards you. But here's something interesting for you. Once you have it hosted like this in your name, as you can see, get us out of the way here. All these are integrations. Every one of these integrations you can use in the background, right, connected to your domain, including Wix, including Weebly, and that's the way all these integrations work. Shopify's, all those shops. There's literally hundreds of them. Now, in the database side, I'll jump quickly to this. This is Sakai. I'm not going to jump into Sakai, but it's a big learning management system. But I wanted to show you on Slab here because being sort of a database guy, I know you'd love this. This is just our basic Belmont Slab portal. I've got one for tons of other different projects and businesses. But what you'll love about this is that it's a fully integrated wiki site. So in addition to all the databases behind it, it's got its own complete integrations, hundreds and hundreds of integrations with databases, websites, and different types of categories of forms that you can do. So for example, I've just been using this as kind of, okay, what kind of courses do we want? You can embed, I'll show you in a second, we can embed all kinds of spreadsheets, databases, what have you in it, and it makes them all basically a wiki. So what happens is when we pick up a collaboration space, you'll see up here, there's like a table of contents, and everything that's been done will show down on the table of contents there. So in addition to the course catalog, like we were doing teacher recruiting, so I did we started a faculty database here. Now these databases is kind of like, who's the person, who's the teacher, what do they teach, what are they good in, do they bring their own content to the party, that kind of stuff. And we built 50 or 60 of these different starting sort of databases on Slab, and Slab is like Confluence. The thing that's nice about it though is you're not paying for members, because you can have guests, which other Confluence and those other ones, you know, they'll charge you $10 a month a member or something for people that are working on it. Here they can all be free and they can all be online. They can get online and take a look at the website, the web page, and all that that's been designed here. This is more of a database sort of management of forms and stuff like that, but you also have a wiki type thing. Now let me see if I can get to administrative settings. Probably won't let me do that. Let's see, where are our admin settings? Let's see. Okay, these are all the different things. Let's see if I can find settings down there. Import content. Let's see what we got up here. All right, we'll close that out. Got to show you kind of, I can find one we did, and some of those are for my other, some of those other things are there. Okay, those are all the, these are all the sign-ins for the different other integrations are on a database there, as well as the, you can put it by different categories underneath it, like, you know, different things that you may want to do within your links where you're linking to other things. So let's see, where is, let's see, view all. We've got them all there. Sky LMS, engineering, logistics. Okay, let's go back here. And it's our profile. And then if I can get, okay, then there's email administration for the admin. So what you can do then is pick your team members or your databases, and you can drip emails to anyone you want according to when they contributed or when they joined, etc. Now you can also do this within both Apricot and within Podia, of course. So, but the difference that with Slab is that it's for people who are working. So what I'm thinking that you might like, and it's inexpensive for nonprofits. So I was thinking just one functionality you may have, because the way your mind works, is that you might like to do some of these projects within Slab where you also have your database pointed to things like what workers are working when, sort of who is going to show up for a certain project. Now you schedule that, of course, when you're doing your schedule, you schedule that on Wild Apricot, because you can go down into events here and of course start all your event lists of when will an event happen, what will the event be like, when is it going to happen, who's participating. You can even sell tickets to it if you want, but you will also have certain lists where you're sending emails to, and you can do those as drips with templates on Apricot. Now I'll show you in a second. I mean, the main thing we want to do is cover a little bit of Podia, but one thing I wanted to do to show you real simply from the top down versus, you've done so many of these on Wix, you know how the bottom up is. Let me just show you a quick top down here. This is one of my test sites that we haven't really done anything. All right. So we go over to Wix, Weebly, and we're going to select a bottom up instead of a top down. So when we pick that up, of course, it always starts just like Weebly and Wix always do, where you have a giant theme that goes all the different things. And if you pick artificial intelligence, like you said, you put your mission in, like you saw on Peptorial, I put, we're a nonprofit. So all the nonprofit stuff comes up. Well, what you can do instead of doing all that is just pick a very, very simple, non-lengthy landing page template like this. And it'll come up with, all it has is basically a single element, and that's it. And all of the elements you saw that we have done before, but that it's got some initial pages. So I'm just going to do a real quick run through on this. The very first thing I do is I go here and I get rid of every one of these pages because you do not want to have any, and you can add pages easily, but you don't want any of their templated pages. This is as simple as it gets from bottom up. They still put stuff you don't want to need in there. So I'm blowing that away, and we're going to say, we're going to just go with the one home page, and we're going to basically say it's got the different header types, what have you, and we're going to call it checkmating the king. Checkmated the king. Okay, we called it that. So all I did now, and you can say yes or no and hide these things so you can't see the menus. On Podia, the default is any pages you add do not show up because they think you're going to have a landing page first, which is what you need for social media and that kind of stuff. But you can, now that we've kind of automatically picked a theme, you can do all kinds of meta tags on that. You can look at what it looks like on mobile, but obviously we haven't done anything. So if you jump to the build side, simply all you've got here is like a nothing right here. So I can sort of click down here. I can edit the background. You can change the color to something prettier like a blue or something like that. And then we can say, okay, all this is just a title. So we're going to say ATTACK, attack the king. Attack the king. Wow. And so that's your head. And of course, now when you do this, it looks too huge as we do it on our site because it's like, hey, this is a laptop. But when you see it on mobile, which you'll do in Wix or on anywhere else, you're saying, oh, okay, that doesn't look too bad and too big because it's going to roll down. So this is called responsive design, which of course Wix has too, as well as Weebly, because this is Wix. But now here's the thing with bottom up. Let's say after that, you say, I want to immediately go into a photo plus some type here. I can do image and type, or I want 3 columns here, or I want this and that. Now you can do it like a programmer where you pick columns, dividers and all that. Or what I like to do is you just pick a section such as, let's see, I'll throw a generic section in there. And now I'm going to pick a featured section, and I'm going to pick like let's see, 3 cups of coffee here, 2 cups of coffee. Any of these things have got all these wonderful things within them all set up already, right? And you did that with Weebly or whatever. And also, it's the same thing that happens when you do Apricot. They have the exact same builder. So I won't go too much further, take more time on this. So basically what I've done, and the site we looked at a second ago on egolessness was built with the same basic way, although we got underneath with some of the changes. But you just change your headline, put the 3 photos you want, and you have those in there instead. And similar to this, you can see many of these were templates, but some weren't. Some was a slideshow that I customized, so I could have 3, but also a GIF inside instead of just a photo like they wanted. Others, I just like a little motion in it, but it's still a landing page. It's only some brief kind of messages. And if I went onto the mobile on this, you'd see that you see each one of these and they're good size for even a small screen. And so you can see where I took the templates, used other things instead of there, used several other templates. And so there's really no custom programming in there other than setting up your buttons. Now, hopping over, and you know all that stuff because that's exactly how. Now let's see, let me hop over to, what is this? Let's hop over to Podia. Let's jump down here and just give you an example of, get out of this thing here and get into the builder. Okay, now the Podia it's wonderful. It's just like Apricot, and that there's hundreds of cool apps behind it and integrations within it that you can do, and you get them from the dashboard. So it's very much like when you're editing a Wix site or any of the other sites, that you have databases of products, memberships. Only there's things like down here, you see at the bottom, there's a chat. Well, on our site, when you have a site with Podia, there's always this chat button. And if you look at that on the chat button, it'll say they're now online because we're online. It knows we're online. So you actually can have people who have questions jump in the chat and then give you their email address if they're just interested, but they don't want to join, or if they have questions, that kind of stuff. So now the products, they're different names for different things, but you just work within what they call stuff. It's like Shopify, they have their own different other names, and so does Apricot. But products are basically the ways that you start by creating individual things that are going to be available to different members. And let's just say we're going to start a membership for a group in Belmont, and it's going to be a database group of members. So this is just the one I had set up before as a placeholder, where you have contributors, fans, friends, teachers, students, admins, board, guests, volunteers, committees, and managers. And then what you do is under each one of these, you can set up, you can hook everything to everything. Every page, landing page has its own URL. So when you're on social media, if you want someone just to join as a teacher, you can go to that page on behind your website because it's got its own URL. So, you know, it'll be like teachers.belmont.com, whatever you picked as your email. So if you want a bunch of databases, and I know how you think in databases, you created these as memberships with all the different potential database you have, and then you build individual membership databases like this. Like we don't have a lot of them, but we've got technical expert teachers, students, Baha'i topical teachers, contributors, of course, board members, teacher applicants, newsletter only, physical visitors, you know, that 2021. So that could be your camping thing like that. Of course, memberships you can charge for, you can just offer to everyone or just make them to visitors if you want. So there's many stratuses you can pick with that. And then within each one, you can set each plan to have its own email group, just like a database, its own. So if I want to send something only to our board members, they're all listed in there. In fact, a bunch of people started joining our newsletter here. I didn't even have this up, and we got some contributions on social media, and we also got a bunch of people joining us saying, yeah, send us our email from the slab list, because I integrated the slab list just like we would integrate the apricot list. So and it also has got its own sales page and its own promotion, its own landing page, and its own analytics of who went where and what they did, its own individual plan settings in terms of how you want the plans to work. And then up here, of course, you have the same thing with audiences, affiliates, sales, coupons. So I could do a 3 buttons on a course, for instance. And that's just to give you an example. Like I would do a product course where one of the products here is like a free newsletter. Okay. And if I said, create a product under a certain group here, you can see this radio buttons that you can do a digital download, a webinar, a bundle. You can do a Zoom integration for a Zoom course or just one Zoom meeting. You can do all these different kind of things that you create, and the products then tie to the database. So you can, and also to the email. So when I go to messaging, you can create you can have a group, you could have a group email, but you can also set up individual groups within your messaging groups to do drips and those kind of communications. So staying in touch means staying in touch with which databases you picked and who you want them to go to. So this is a complete funnel down contract customer CRM program within Podia, where you can actually do campaigns or broadcasts to whole groups or individual groups and that kind of thing. And of course, they've got their own videos, resources, tools. You can send videos, video emails. You can take a look at them within the email as you're doing it and that kind of stuff. So and then it'll show you who responded to what, by what emails they did. So these are just a few people that asked for our newsletter. You know, we've got one of my teachers who I asked to teach here said, hey, let me get the newsletter also. So and we've of course tested this with different things, but all these same functionalities are available on, and it's done almost the same way. You build them almost the same way on Apricot. So the only difference is that you also get what Podia doesn't offer, but what they do offer on their builder is that you can do events. So if we actually have a real school and this takes second base, in other words, this gets moved behind, it's like, no, we don't want to do courses right now. We don't want to do downloads and all that kind of stuff. We don't want to advertise on social media yet. Let's just really do our physical stuff first. Like the board is kind of saying, well, then your all those other functionalities that you have on Apricot, where you pick the events, you schedule them, and then you can also do the database and send it. You also can set up your members and databases just like I showed you on Podia there, and do the same exact thing where you're going to message certain databases, certain audiences through the emails and that kind of stuff. Now, there's a lot more things behind this than actually has been seen here. Like, for instance, oops, I got to get our thing out of the way so I can find this. Let's see, what do we have in site settings here? Alrighty, that's not it. We got to go to account settings. Go to account settings because we're not going to do any editing, but we'll just show you some examples. Let's see, videos. Okay. Okay, notifications, password. So those are for the other. Now let's get to the other. Dang, I can't get this thing out of the way. Let's see if I can't find some of those for you. All right, here's some examples. Within all the different groups and databases, and same thing with your integrations within Apricot, is obviously here's Zoom, ConvertKit, MailChimp, GetResponse, MailerLite, and then Zapier, and there's like probably 200 to 300 on Zapier, where you basically integrate what you want to do with that group. So you can take your different mailing programs, etc., just like you do within Wix or within many of the other big hosting systems, and then you can set up, how do you do payments within the store, and adding PayPal and Stripe if you want ongoing memberships. And then, so this is similar to how Apricot works, but all it is all the management of the memberships and all the management of that. None of it is really the website. So all these other pages you do with products, downloads, courses, anything else can also then be integrated here with your website itself. And this is the website builder. So you've been seeing the whole management IT system builder, just like they have in Apricot. This is Podia's actual IT builder. Now here's the website builder. So when you get to the website builder, just like we saw with Wix and Weebly, it's the same thing. You've got different pages that you can add pages, you can add sections, and you can build it just like you would within Weebly or Wix, except that it's also landing page and mobile friendly, where you can look at your mobile, your widescreen, or your tablet. I mean, you can look at 3 different views of what it's going to look like there on Podia. And so right now we're just on the home page. We also have a course catalog there, but again, it's so simple because we can change your header, you can do your links, just like setting up anything else. But on the side panels, you can add sections here, add buttons, what have you, control the colors just like you would, but it's much more intuitive. It's an easier builder. It's easy, just like Apricot. It doesn't have quite as complicated as Wix is with all the integrations. But if I pick just this section, then it's got content and design. You can show all the different typefaces. And this is what the committee was asking us about before. Can it be all consistent? Where what is called is collateral material, where you have designed certain colors that are your corporate colors. You have a certain typeface you use, and you can do that globally across the whole site, or you can do individual sections or individual pages. Now, what's amazing about these sections, when you add sections, it's not just sections that are you add here with the button and make your button and where it goes and all that other stuff, but you've got a whole list of hundreds of other types of sections that you can add. So if I wanted to add a section up at the top up here, you could actually put just like a big corporate website or shopping site or a membership of a big nonprofit, you can actually put your memberships or your product lists on your front page, your website pages, or on other pages within so you can create another page like the course catalog, have only those members be able to see that course catalog. And when you do your login, you go down there, but you can also do your newsletter, text, image, video, column, there's just tons of those kind of types of new sections you can do as well. So this is global, of course, for the whole site, but you can also do individual ones that you do there. And that way you've designed your website from the back forward and from the bottom up of everything you want with your databases. So let's say I have 6 or 7 databases within there of memberships, and I want to create a new page here, and I create a page where I say, instead of find page, I create a page and I create a new page, and it's going to be called teachers only. Okay. Teachers only can then integrate the membership group from teachers only in the membership section, and you can do blog articles, releases, etc. just for that. So let's say I have a page called donors. This is the coolest thing. If I have a page that's called just called donors, then what I do is we go over to our actual dashboard with memberships, and under memberships, we create a plan and a post. And let's say this post was just to teachers, welcome Belmont teacher. Let's say we had one that wasn't for teachers, but was for contributors. It says, thank you for your contribution, just like a landing page. Well, then when you build that mailing list of people who contributed, you can create a blog article that goes out every month to them. And you can automate that whole thing by each group. Where does it want to go? What do you want to communicate with them? How did they respond back? And under analytics, you see how much of the article did they read? They opened it. They didn't open it. They saw it. They went down here. This is what they clicked on. You get full analytics of everything. And then you can also set up drips for those campaigns.
404-915.
Someone trying to get you and me both.
Sorry.
Yeah, so basically when you set up those plans, what you can do is under each one of those. So this is a fully integrated blog, in other words. So you'll have comments on it, all the blogs there. You don't have to deal with WordPress. It's already fully integrated. And this is the cool thing about social media and promoting your contributions. We've set up a whole system for Belmont when they're ready for it on all the social media sites, on Twitch, on Twitter, on Facebook, with all the pixels and all those analytics fall within the settings of your accounts. So basically, we're taking all of the different integrations and account settings, and go over to where individual ones are. So if we go to analytics, basically every campaign for every page on everything for contributors that we do, like let's say we do a post on Facebook and say, I want 10,000 people that are interested in the Baha'i faith from our page. Then they give you a pixel ID for that campaign, for that plan, Google Analytics on your website blog for SEO when it pops up, and your tracking codes and conversion tracking codes. So it shows everything that happens for each campaign, for each email campaign, for each Facebook campaign. Anything you do on your contributors are already completely wired up. And we've created separate sites on those 500 sites I showed you for each one of those individual landing pages, and they tie back into this. Now, what's really, really neat is any one of these pages you built in the background of Podia, like let's say you just have a contributor page you built, and it says, thank you for your contribution. Here's some of the things, and you built a form just for them. I want a tile in my beloved one's name, or I want a certificate issued. Podia will print out that certificate and send it to their email or whoever you want, or do a regular monthly thing. It's all automated, so you don't have to keep jumping in and doing things with individuals, contributors, and members. Now, the other cool thing is that particular page that talks about contributions has its own URL. So if I go on to social media, Facebook, and I do a very specific vertical campaign on something like a course or a contribution or something, I can have that landing page be within here on that particular page, and then they can go back to the main page anytime you want. You know, the main site page. So what's hidden behind all that are all those unlimited memberships, unlimited landing pages, etc. So now so you could do, if you were a school and you only wanted to school, you didn't want to do the online types events, the things that are added with the Apricot, of course, is that you do have the same members and you have an online store. They have separate areas for donations, your financial reporting, to tie it back into QuickBooks as an integration. You can do the same integrations on Podia as a flat file, but it depends on what kind of donations, whether you're taking donations or actually doing courses. Of course, they don't do courses. They're not a school. They do associations as if you're managing a nonprofit with members. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. So that's why the two kind of are good together if you're also going to after courses. If you weren't going to do courses, you wouldn't need Podia at all. You could just do all the same stuff I just showed you within Apricot, because they really have everything. They've got memberships. They've got, you know, the events you can schedule when it happens. You can sell tickets, and their databases would basically be joined by the different members. Now, they don't have the level of plans that Podia have, because it's all unlimited. Here, it depends on how many members you have, you know, with the plan level. So, but, you know, what you can basically get up to, you know, if you have a registration, for instance, for an event, it's got 10,000 employees. Those aren't members. They're just getting ready for your, you know, your event. So you don't have to count them in your membership list. It's really people that are ongoing contributors and that kind of stuff. But you can set up groups here, levels, forums, and that kind of stuff. And then what I use for this, I don't know if I'm actually got the screen sharing so we can hear anything, but
Let me interrupt you just
oh,
a
sure, go ahead.
second.
Yeah, go
Just
ahead.
a second on this. If when you're talking about the membership, not the membership, but some groups that you can have, can you have a database of those groups in the event?
They
Or
are
is it
databases. Yeah, those are databases. So whenever you set up a
so
membership, it is a database. Now
so
it's
that's
not like SQL Server. If you wanted that SQL Server, you could import them. You'd import them into a tool like Slab. Whereas in other words, I wanted to have a relational database built of all the forms with all the functions. You can still look at them within Podia in the back end and send emails to all of them you want. But if you wanted to integrate the different databases in terms of more than just sending emails, but you wanted to have one big giant database of all the members, then you just combine them all, and you can combine them from both sites or what have you.
yeah. I mean, I understand the Podia has that not limitation.
Right.
The one with the Apricot, if I have like a Grand Canyon conference and there is 3,000 people there and I want to put their name in a group, is it going to allow me to put all their names in a group automatically, or I should have to enter all these names?
Oh no, you have both. You have both. You're right. That's a good question. Yeah.
And
No,
is it part of that plan that I have limitation as far as 500?
No. The 500 limitation, that's actually that's not management of your database. That's how many actual contributing members of contributions you have or what have you. Like they subscribe to your membership. It's not just a database of who visited. You like if you have an event like say event list, or you want to load in, they could fill out their own form on it, or you could enter it yourself. You have your choice. You could do either of those.
So basically
yeah.
in our application of, let's say, the Belmont, that we have staff, we have, you know, like administrators, we have, you know, like teachers, we don't have to put them in the membership database. We can have them in a group of the databases, and they're not part of. So if I get a plan which is for 500 members, which is about $100 or something in a month, that should be sufficient for me to do that for the purpose of, you know, like that. They're not going to be that many. Well, I don't know. I mean, it might be 1,000 or maybe 2,000. But I'm just saying, for example, the donors could be 500, or it could be, you know, like 300 or 1,000. So I don't have to think about staff or, you know, like construction workers in case anything like that. I don't have to think about those as part of the database that I need.
No. In fact, yeah, when you do different names and members like that, you can convert. I mean, you could put them on an Excel spreadsheet and have them fill out the form and just dump them anywhere you want, or just keep them there. And these are some examples. Basically, you had asked me for, but I can show you how some of them have done that, just as, you know, just the way they work. Let's see. This is Kaleidoscope. Their one right here, and it shows that. This is kind of their website and landing page, and they also have a strong membership base, and then this will give you an example. there's like 50,000 people that use worldwide that use the Apricot.
Apricot.
Yeah, and you just asked to see some of those kind of things, and they have
Right.
their blog integrated here, and it'll show you the different. This, Podia does the same thing where you can just put a blog slug in there as a section, and then you can have your different blog articles that are for the public.
Mhm.
Same thing if it's like what's going on with our latest thing, and it's only for if it's only for administrators, you could have it on your website and you click and it says log in, this is for administrators or whatever, so they can give you a login when you go to that one. But it just shows you some examples of how some of the things that you can actually, as you had asked about it, kind of what can you do on it. And
Yeah, but can you find something that it shows like I'm not sure if it's behind the scene or like a group listing and a database for that? I mean, can I keep that in a database? Is it like, say, I have a group of, like students, can I keep it in a database forever, or is it just per
Well,
event?
yeah, I mean, for our customers, when I have a database that's for my personal use and it's not, the site themselves, it doesn't have anything to do with the website. It's basically sending emails and all that stuff. I just put those in the integrations on. I just put those on Slab myself. I mean, you can do it within Podia, you can do it within there, but it depends on what you're going to do with it. Like the
Oh,
the
okay.
integrations on Slab, there's like 500 integrations you can actually do. You can change an Excel sheet to a database sheet or what have you. So all my own databases, because you don't have to program the database, you just put the data in, or you have a form kind of tie back to here. But it's different between capturing emails and names and that kind of stuff, and actually just organizing them themselves. And you can import them as flat files. And then what I would do when I get it from Podia or from any of the database companies, from whether it's Apricot, Podia, what have you, is that those forms, then when you design the form,
Uh-huh.
it answers the forms and then it drops into either the membership area or just an interest and a contact interest instead of a member, because they haven't joined yet. So under Apricot, you'd have a contact list instead of a membership list. And
Uh-huh.
then, and now I am an editor and min partner with Apricot. And I talked to my guy this morning. I called him up and I said, I've got a really bright potential school here that might use you. And they're interested in some of the more advanced databasing functions and unloading flat files more than just sending emails to different groups. And I asked him some of those same questions. And he said, well, yeah, we'll do everything unlimited for you. And I said, no, I'm not. This isn't for me. This isn't for like my customer. This is actually someone that would actually have a site with you that we refer to you and just you work with them then. And he said, well, yeah, if you're on the different plan levels, it depends on, which emails do you want. It's the same as it's similar, very similar to Podia. But I've got what is he? He's my partner guy. He's in
Is that
Toronto.
Mark? Is that Mark? Coincidentally, I this morning I have some chat in Apricot because I have some problem with the, like the website and so forth.
Uh-huh.
And that was they're calling a coach, like a Mark or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
no. There's a whole group of like 20 or 30 coaches when you do a chat.
Oh, I
But my
see.
guy he's at Toronto. He's in the executive office. He's the head of partner programs.
Uh-huh.
And I can't remember his name right now because I haven't talked to him for probably 6 months or whatever. But he's
Mm.
going to come back to me with some specific, here's what you can do with flat files into Slab versus Podia. Because I said, I'm going to help integrate Podia with you guys. And they love Podia because they're like, oh, someday we'd love to do courses. We'd love to be a school. And, since I have Sakai and the learning management systems, then they're kind of like, well, that'd be really nice if, if you could integrate those and help us. Let me find this
Yeah,
share.
just while you're checking on that, I think as
Sure.
a whole plan, by showing all these things, and I'm kind of familiar with, I mean, you went so many detail because the content, when we're talking about the content
Yeah.
in different, I think the modular system that I'm thinking could work because all these
Yeah.
different ready-made websites, Weebly, like all these, they have some features that might be easier, and we can, transition from one side to the other. So I
Sure.
think we have to have the best of the three, like Wix, or four actually, Wix, Weebly, and Podia, and the Apricot. But the main system of administration, I want to also be kind of simple in case I'm not the person who are administrator, like someone from the board can easily go and administer all the affairs, whatever it is. But as far as detailed content and how we set it up, I think the modular system might work this way. In other words, the education would be primarily Podia, and the membership, and like these kind of things, events, small events, or whatever the functionality of the Apricot, we start with that. And then the other thing which I'm thinking about, and I can show you some of my website,
Sure. Sure.
I'm so much into the graphic, design, like a movie, all these things, how it starts. So there's kind of, like artistic, I should say, part of these websites that, sometimes you have to what extent, because the more artistic, the more complicated it will be. And as far as, motion or video and everything, and not everybody can access, they have to have a computer rather than a, like an iPhone or something. So we want to have the simplicity at the same time kind of attractive. So I think I'm saying that the art part of it is another thing, like the website, the artistic type of website, you want to have that, or you want not, or you want to, what do you want to put there. So I'm just saying, like, uh, to me, the modular system may be the answer, like we use all different modules, and then the collaboration, I think, who's going to be involved, you're going to be involved, because I don't think I can have all these content, myself. Even the administrator has to do some other things, maybe from the board or something like that. But designing that, I think that modular system might work. That is just my thought when we are going through all these different, website builders and so on.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about Slab is that you can set the permission levels where, they're not going to mess up your website or click on something they don't understand, but they can still look at something depending on the level of the person getting involved, collaboration kind of thing. Because Slab is a collaboration tool. It's meant for
Oh, okay.
having a
So
bunch of people.
now when you're talking about Slab is, you can have all these website on Slab and then collaborate on them. Is that what you're talking
Well,
about? I mean,
no, well,
because
Slab is like Confluence. It's a wiki-oriented product, and what it does is it basically just it does databases, it does all kinds of like it's got who here are in on the team, and who can do what, kind of like what are the different provisions they can have, who are the teammates. I've got like all the different members of the website committee. I'll obviously add you to this, but to give you an example of, these are integrations that are within Slab. And when you mentioned the website, it's got basically your entire, if I was doing a classroom setting with Podia, I have all of the integrations of the Google suite in there, Google Classroom, all the forms, everything else that they can fill out. You can make these public and publish them as a page that anyone can see, or you can just keep them within the memberships only in the background. But you can see there are tons of embeds and things like that you can do on these. You talked about I mean, you can put your own whole Wikipedia in there. You can do Draw, Canvas, all the different kinds of stuff like that. So, but this is for the back end of people just want to know what's going on, who's administrating it, and that kind of stuff. So that's why I started to set this up to say, well, gee, if everybody was going to be interested in kind of working on it, I've got, Jason, who does all of the courses for Scottsdale, and Mike Elliott, and then Shaku, and then Dave Lovell, who is going to work on the finance with me. And we've backed off all that while we're waiting for the finance stuff. But you can do admins, guests, invitations, what have you. And what's nice about, instead of Confluence, where you got to send like $10 a month, per administrator that gets in, these are all guests and they have all the same privileges as the administrator does. So, and you can set levels, like if you don't want them to change a database or something. But when I showed you the integrations, you can actually integrate Oracle or SQL Server, where you have the actual database where it converts your Excel list to a database, or you can import it from Podia, what have you, and then work with it in here. But I wouldn't give access to wild apricot to a board member. I mean, if they're not a programmer and
Well,
they're in,
they have like something for when you design like a website, you can, that would be the entrance door also, maybe, I'm not sure, but I'm just
yes,
thinking about, for example, you can have, say, okay, this is the website,
yeah,
and this, you can add the administrator, not us, but
yeah,
like the board members,
yeah.
they can go from that page and they do whatever they want behind the scene. I don't know.
Right. Well, yeah. See, we have that here on Podia, and they have that also on Apricot. But for example, up here where it says log in, you can visit it, go to all the links, do all the other stuff, but only certain people that have joined as members or as certain categories of plans are allowed to log in and get behind it, and then they see what you tell them to see. I wouldn't give a login to everything that you can see and do to
Right.
anyone but you. I mean, what you don't want to do is somebody accidentally going somewhere and blowing up the website because they don't know what they're doing. They're like, where am I? Where do I go? I got all these controls, because it'll just get someone really confused. But you can do a login just to their member area that has just their database, and they can do just that amount of stuff, kind of thing. The thing otherwise, if you had them log into the whole thing, then they'd see everything that we see, and they just get, that's one reason I think that they fired me, because it was too complicated, and they're like, well,
I
we don't
understand,
understand. So if you do that, you get someone to sign in and they look at this and they go, what's this? What are these Zoom classes? What's this? What's the dashboard? All these contact member events, store donation. This is managing the whole thing. Now, if you
Right.
wanted to hand it off or have a second manager who you train on all this stuff and say, yeah, that's another person to back me up in that, or just you and I do it, or, however you want to do it. It's got to be somebody that really understands and wants to do it. Like Michael, he says, I really like blocking and tackling. So I said, all right, let me set you in on some of all the details. And I was showing him this and this. And he's like, that's too much. He's like, I
Yeah.
don't want to know that much. He said, I don't really want to do it. I just want to kind of get an idea of how you do it. Like, how do you
Right.
register, that kind of
Right.
stuff. So then
Now,
you could just do it with a Zoom and teach someone, or we could do it together
right.
and teach someone. Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's talk about Slab, because I'm not very familiar with that. Is that an oversee, like at the top of the chart? Is that something at the top of the chart that you can have? What is the function? I mean, I understand, I see some of these, but did you design this, or this is just the kind of comes with it, and do you add these things? Is that something you made in Slab? Or
Yeah,
is
I
it
made
something
all
that's
this
ready?
I made all this stuff within Slab just because it comes up. It's a tool that's used for database managers, for someone who wants to create a database of different kinds of projects,
Ah,
names. They call it a collaboration tool, but if you look
oh,
up
I see.
on the web, you say, I want to manage databases, it'll come up with Confluence, which is thousands of dollars every month. As a nonprofit, this is costing me $7 a month, to do each of my slab things, because number one, I get the nonprofit discount, but also I'm not bringing any administrator teams. They're all guests. No, I'd have to pay more, like another $7 a month or something, if everybody was actually administrators and they all created their own databases. But what Slab does is it helps manage projects, manage databases. And if you have large databases of different things that you want to change, it helps you combine them and move them around and all that other stuff. It's a good way. What it really is it's documentation for programmers. So when people are doing projects, if they die the next day, say, go on Slab and you'll see everything I've been doing. So it's kind of documentation. There's things in here I'm not showing you because I don't want to, it's too much stuff. There's things
No,
like,
that's okay. I mean, I'm just concerned about, because as I said, when I'm in my mind, the module, I'm not sure how I can, maybe we have on the same line. Modular system to me is that, I can get the best of every of one of these and put it together. So
Sure.
and each one has a better function. When we talk in Podia,
Sure.
so I get the most interesting part of the Podio and combine it with the most interesting part of the Weebly. Weebly is the simplest one. Let's say, for example,
Sure.
for making a website,
Yeah.
and this is for education. So I'm just looking at this as modules, but I want to control it and I want to collaborate it and I want to make it simple. So these are the
Sure.
tasks. So we
Sure.
don't want to be so complicated, even for us, for
Sure.
me or for
Sure.
you, so
Sure.
that, down the line, maybe I'm not here, you're not here. I mean, we talked about it, and somebody else come in, and then they get confused. They don't know where is where.
Sure.
So
Sure. Yeah, I think you
I'm,
start, like you said, you start with just the basic, your basic site.
Apricot may be
app-
I talked to the Mark. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt your.
No, no, sure.
Yeah, I talked to Mark, who is one of the coach, and he also says that the Apricot is mostly gadgets, and like you can have another website and then use all these gadgets and put it the other website. So but I don't want to do that. I don't want to make a website in Weebly and then make a website and integrate it. I'm just trying to do everything in Apricot if possible.
Sure. Sure.
I find it a little cumbersome, when I want to edit the demo version of the website. It wasn't that easy, a little bit cumbersome.
Sure. Sure.
So, but if I can start with that point, because it has the administration, all the features for this small things of like a church or whatever, like a nonprofit organization. So I'm going to maybe start with that. We're going to have the option of linking for education to the website. I'm not going to work on a lot of content for let's say the school content, whatever. I mean, you have done a lot of things. We have those available. We have to be able to link them to somehow to the educational part of that. The membership, if we can have, now it's clear for me that the membership is different database, and I have to pay for that, for the Apricot, but I don't have to pay for a group of 10,000 participants in the Grand Canyon that I want to keep track of them.
Right.
So that's
right,
a good thing. So
Right,
I
right,
think
right.
these things that I'm learning, and then if we can look at the modular, if even the landing, when you're talking about the landing page, I can make a landing page, let's say, in any of these,
Sure.
and then just link it from any of these to the others.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. So I think the modular system might be the answer to me, as far as combining all the benefits and everything of these together.
Yes.
And then
Well, see, that's why I mentioned Slab, because Slab is, let's see if I can find,
are you,
okay.
do I have to get the Islam membership or like free?
Oh yeah, you could get there's like a free membership level, but you could also do the $7 a month or whatever. But you just make sure everybody's a guest. You don't add more members. It's just you, then it's not expensive. But let me show an example here.
Okay.
This is a list on Wiki. I'm an editor on and an admin on Wikipedia, and this is just one I programmed this 10 years ago, and it's gotten gigantic now. But this is just the basic code without any of the database. It's in HTML markup, but these are just headings and then little kind of links down there. And every one of these that's got a star on it is a link kind of thing. And it's, to give you an example, let's just jump over to the actual site. This is after I had programmed it. It's just one I did because I'm into music, and I most of mine I do are Baha'i. Like Baha'i funerals I wrote, Baha'i this, Baha'i that. So I've done tons and tons of these articles on the faith, and then millions of people get to see it. But to give you an example, and this is all about Slab. Slab is a wiki, and in wiki, as you know, you can have pictures, you can have databases, you can have links, and when you say modular, that's why all kinds of programmers and people that want to combine different things together use a wiki format, because when you do it and you say read, and you don't have to do this in Slab, you don't have to program it with any of that programming. You just drag and drop, drag a database, drag this, drag that, anything can be dragged into it. And then you automatically get your table of contents, which are all the different links, and you link to everything you want to link to. So let's pretend this is, we did one of these on the entire Belmont project, and we did it in a wiki format. You'd have databases here. Click on that article and you go to the databases. You got here, you might have administrators, you might have teachers, this. organized like this under categories. Each module, it's like Weebly sites that feed into that, every one of those. And I was working on doing this in Slab. I only had the working group in Slab, so I didn't really get to Slab to the point of adding all the things together, because we weren't talking about doing events then. Everybody thought, oh, we'll have COVID, we won't be for a year. So let's get started more on the donations and on that. But so within Slab, if you wanted to create a module and have it all done, modular system, have it all done for you with links that go wherever you want, to either to Podia or to one of your Weebly feeder sites or over to Apricot, that's a way that you could organize it for yourself, but also anyone else could jump in and see it, because on Slab you can publish it and they could see this whole thing just like it's your own Wikipedia. Of course, you probably wouldn't want to do that. You don't want the whole world to seeing it, but you could also have it as a guest sign in, so they could sign in and see this whole thing with all your modules in it and what all the modules are doing. And of course, you know, you can put videos in there, you can put databases, you can put spreadsheets, you know, whatever you want to put. And that's the beauty about this with some of these different guests and things that you can do within it, is that you can actually drag and drop. Like if I want to drag a database or a spreadsheet or a picture or anything I wanted to drag into there, it would be, you know, that would also show up within it. So and so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a Wikipedia. That's what I mean. It's actually,
That's
it's actually organized like a Wikia like that. So yeah.
Okay, so let me talk to you about a little bit about the artistic things. I don't know, you know, what I'm concerned about is that, for example, some of these things that we put in the website, which is video animations and this kind. How do you think about, you know, like the putting those things in the artistic side? Would it be better not to put any of those at all in the website?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because you have to, when you connect it, you have to connect it so that it's works on mobile, but also that that when it plays, it doesn't play the music automatically in case they're at work and that kind of stuff. But and also the load times. If you have a self-playing player in the video and it loads and you watch the video, sometimes it's slower on your phone because it doesn't load as quickly and that kind of stuff. So the answer is is the landing page shouldn't have too much more than like GIFs and pictures, because that page you don't want to take too long to load, or the contributor gets bored and they go away. But every one of them can be high, beautiful design with any of these makers. I mean, you can make them very colorful, you can make them very artistic. That's, you know, I mean, that's what we have a whole team of artists. I've got like 40 people on Fiverr and all that stuff that I work with on GIFs and on videos. I'm a video editor myself, as you know, we're both in broadcast kind of stuff. So we do a ton of videos. And so you can do like quick motion stuff with some really neat stuff for the youth, and the stuff that we teach, we do that same kind of stuff, where we'll do a quick GIF or something like that, but it only is like a minute or less. And you're going to be getting a lot of pressure to show lots of buildings and food service and preparation and that kind of stuff, because Luann and Lottie, and to a lesser extent Shoku, but certainly Jerry Gardner, there's others folks, and on the assembly too, there's folks that really like the physical thing. And so they want to see lots of buildings and lots of that stuff. And that was one reason they said, you're going too far with this class. They didn't like what I was starting on, even because I was saying, well, let's do classes online, this and that. They're like, well, no, we want more videos of the buildings, and we want to see kids walking around and having fun and talking like that. And it's like, it depends on whether you're making a corporate site that's inward facing, like we're really proud of these buildings, we want to show these buildings, or you're asking yourself, what are the needs of the person visiting? That's called outward facing. So the answer is always, to a good designer, is like, what are these young people interested in? What do they want to see? What are their needs? You know, they're asking questions like, you know, who am I really and how should I live my life? Like the House of Justice says. So if your things on your blog articles and the things up there are very relevant and beautiful to the people that are visiting, then they can be promoted on social media into contributors and that kind of stuff that really meets those needs. So I just used an example for Ruhi. I wish I knew Farsi, but I don't think I conveyed it very well. But for instance, a high percent of the people who give want to do so in the name of a loved one. They want to say, I want to give to Belmont, but I want it to be in the name of my wife who passed away. So on your landing page for donors, I totally agree. It should be beautiful. It should be cool. It should be artistic and sensitive. But for that kind of donor, it's kind of like, you can get a stone. You can get a stone with their name on it. You'll get a certificate. Well, we're going to have a memorial database of contributors in the names of the people who have supported us. We're going to have a wall of honor, and you can do a wall of honor on your website in the contributors section that as a thank you page to people who, and it can be beautiful. It can be the gold scroll kind of thing with the names on the contributors. Now, some other people are going to say, I'm a Baha'i, don't believe in ego and self. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for Baha'u'llah, and I don't want my name on anything, but, I want my loved one to be remembered. So, and even Ruhi had said, I was trying to explain this to him. He said, oh, because he's totally against the website and into buildings. So he said, no, I want buildings. So he said, I could put someone's name over a building. I'm like, well, yeah, if they give, $100,000 and there's a big building, it's like, yeah, fine, put their name on it. That's what they want, or their loved one or what have you. But it was the idea. He got the idea. It's like, well, yeah, people do like to honor, people other than themselves when they give gifts. And I work with National all the time on fundraising and the gifts, and it's the same way because we do estates and we get an estate item that's worth, several $100,000, and we'll go to the National and say, we've got a Baha'i, we're doing their estate, and they have this item. So they'll basically say, well, we'll get a donation, and we'll tell the person that this is just something that we're not selling it. We're just going to give them as a gift kind of thing, as a remembrance or something. So but yeah, so you can, any of that kind of stuff is like, go for it.
Right. I mean, I'm trying, to see which one so yeah, I'm going to get a little bit more educated on the Apricot for the website side of it.
Let me show you one more thing before I leave. It's very
Sure.
important because I just love your mind and how you think with the database stuff. We use Typeform all the time, and I don't want to jump into class stuff or all that, but it also works with something you asked about, which is filling out different types of forms. And this is integrated on both Podia and on Apricot. But let me just show you the new one, kind of a really quick 2-minute video. Do you have 2 minutes, or are you okay?
Sure.
Okay, let me just do a quick one.
Ready to make a type form?
Can you hear that?
Here's
Yeah.
a quick tour to help you get started. This is where you'll create your type form. Choose a question type from the side panel and edit questions directly in the preview. To change question settings, click on the question type. Here you can change things like making the question required or randomizing answers. Click here if you want to change the question type. Then, spice up the design with layouts. Click the top right-hand corner of the question. Choose a layout, then click Media. Use our Unsplash-powered image library to find an image. Then use our image editor to make it picture perfect. And play with the layout to make it pop. Finalize the look in the Design tab by changing the colors and font. Once you've added all of your questions, you can drag and drop to move them around. Then add one or more endings to finish off your type form. Endings are, you guessed it, a way to end your type form. Using logic, you can link answers to endings and show people different endings based on how they answer your type form. Or how about adding points to each answer and showing people an outcome based on their score? You can do all that and a whole lot more from the Logic tab. Once your type form's set up, hit the Publish button to make it live. Go to the Share panel to find the link. and share it with the world. Get ready to collect some stellar responses.
So what the
Mhm.
point of that, the thing is now, I know you're thinking, oh, Tom, you're a teacher and you're thinking of all, like this is one type form I built. It's got logic built into it. And it's all it is, it's a quiz. So you can use it for your quizzes and your students and things like that. I use it many times for that. But the thing that's cool with the way your mind works, you're into class and beauty and that kind of stuff, but you're also in the back end into the databases. What this does, it's like a Google Forms like they used to have where you're going to register for a class or things like that, but it
Mhm.
also goes into the separate databases of who you're asking. So if you want someone to sign up, obviously it works for classes if you're doing a quiz or something like that, but it also does things like you have a contributor that you say, yes, I want to contribute, fill out this form, or no, I don't want to, but I'm interested, keep me on your list. It'll ask several different questions, and you just fill out the information yourself. You're populating your form and your database at the same time, but it also is responsive to how they answer. So, I don't want right now. It'll go to the other part of the form that says, okay, that just would you like to give us your email for more information in the future, like that kind of thing. Or you can use a logic branch to go over to, and I program tons of these things all the time, but it's really just drag and drop like she showed you. It's very easy to do the logic of it. And this is just, this is a complicated one because it's a chess puzzle, but it shows all the different things I added to go here. No, you got the answer wrong. No, go here, whatever. But you could also do that a very simple one where you just have the fields deformed like you do on Google Forms. And then if they filled it all out and there's just a yes or no at the bottom that says, would you like to contribute now, or no, maybe later, the maybe later then comes up with a different kind of thank you, beautiful form, kind of pretty thing. Or if a yes now, it says, would you like to, in the name of a loved one, kind of thing. So
Mhm.
the more you can automate of this kind of stuff, the less, that you're having to populate the database yourself, all that,
Right.
and you express an interest in forms. Obviously, I work a lot with G Suite because it's got Classroom, Forms, Drive, all that other stuff in it, just like Jason does over at Scottsdale. But and I'm sure you do too, but the idea of wanting to have it beautiful, make it nice, and also sensitive and logic. I'm just giving this as an example of something that you can use. And then as you saw in the end with the sharing, you can embed it in your website anywhere you want. And you can keep it in your own database. You can keep it in their database at Typeform, etc. And they have another one that I don't use called Video Form. I use a different one where it's an interactive video where you watch a video and then you click on oh yeah, I did this. No, I want to do that. It's got the logic within that. I use that for our chess classes with some of our younger students. And that's a little more complicated, but
Mm.
just to give you some examples of some of the tools and tie back into Apricot if you want them, it just makes it easy to do things like register and that stuff. And if there's anything that you're in the middle of, you want to do it, you say, I need a form for this and that, just throw it at me. Say, hey, I want to do that here, do it for me, create that, and here's where I want the database to do. So I'd be happy to help you with whatever you need on that.
I appreciate. I think that this is very nice. I think these are gadget, and we call them gadget,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah. So
exactly,
and
exactly.
this is the type form. Is that what they call
Yes,
them? Time form.
yeah,
Okay. Now, some of them comes, for example, when you look at the Wix and you search for something, they will give you some sort of gadgets
yes,
which are affiliated with widget. But
yeah.
where can I find all? I mean, when you go to Apricot, they have limited number of gadget themselves. Podia probably is the same way. Yeah, they have some gadgets that are included in the software. Is there any like open source gadgets that you can go and find these things? For example, which one is better, which one is not, or something like that?
Well, yeah, it's the integrations and the applications that you bring in there that you want to use, like contact lists and emails and those other types of gadgets. It's not like WordPress where it's a plugin and you can bring those all in, because due to the fact that they're much more secure. It has to be, you can't have a new gadget like you could have within Premiere Video Editor or within WordPress. None of these sites that are secure like that will allow you to bring that in. It has to be done through a third party like Zapier. So it's, to be honest with you, it's not as easy as WordPress is. Like my daughter, she does, WordPress all over. I mean, she's like a genius in WordPress, but she's also spending half her time on security, So, but to do thing on with their different types of applications, you'd go to their integrations menus and then look under Zapier, and Zapier can be 10 or 12 or 15 bucks a month, depending on what you do, of all the ones you bring in. But there's like millions of them. I mean, let me just show you an example here. So this is an example of all these. As you see, it says there's 2,000 apps for all roles. So basically, this is the service that you're mentioning. It's plugins for people who want to be secure. So they saw that they were smart 5 years ago. They said, look, all these WordPress people are leaving WordPress because they don't like all the hacks. What if we want Google, all these are also integrated with Slab, as you saw, but if you wanted to do it with Wild Apricot or Podia, they both support Zapier, all their apps, all 2,000 of them. So if you wanted, to import your Facebook page and have it there, or a group within Slack, or your calendar, all these, they have all these integrations themselves of different forms of them. But there's others they may not have that you like better. That's just drag and drop. Like, DocuSign, OneNote. I mean, look at all this. There's just thousands and thousands of them. And like the NSA, they've got Box integrated on theirs. I was just showing you video. I've got probably 200 videos on Vimeo that we've done. And you can integrate those just as easily. Same thing now, like Podia has unlimited, because it's a class thing, there's unlimited video. So you don't need Wistia or one of your video hosting. You can do it all right on Podia. But some of them want to, and of course, YouTube is also integrated. But if you had other things, like you wanted to use OBS, or you wanted to use streaming within their platform, well, this is how you'd bring it in. You'd bring it in with, and like Amazon also. I've just been approved on the Amazon teaching network. So if I was doing a class and doing teaching and I wanted to have Amazon in their interface integrated, you'd just use Zapier. You'd bring it right in if they didn't have it within that thing. So, but it's not as easy. It's not, well, it's easy, but it's not as,
simple or user friendly.
yeah, it's not as user-friendly as WordPress would be in saying, okay, I got a plugin now, the plugin just showed up on there. You actually have to do the integration. You don't have to do encoding, but you have to say, okay, it's hooked up with that. Now, if it's not hooked up with Zapier, then you're into coding. What Zapier was for is for non-coders who just wanted to drag an app or, a gadget into their website and then use that, like Google Calendar or something like that. Now, of course, the Google G Suite is integrated with Apricot, so you could already do calendar, and they've got it already because of their events. That's something that Podia doesn't have, but you can bring it in. You can bring G Suite, the whole G Suite in, or now they call it Google Business or something. But yeah, you bring that whole suite in, and that's what I already did. I've already got that on all the background of the Belmont stuff, which when we need it, if we do courses, it's got Google Classroom and any of those other things that that you need. So
now, if you have a few more minutes, if you don't mind, I want to share a few things with you, and I also have a kind of old idea which I want to share with you if you have a few minutes.
Oh, please, yeah.
Of course, we can talk about the TV also later on, but I just want to show you a couple of things.
Sure.
Can you
let me stop share.
Yeah, share. Yeah.
Stop share here. There we go. Okay, now you should be able to share too.
It says you have to allow me to share.
Where do I do that? Let's see, participants. I thought I already did that. Let me go over here. Let me see. Let me get rid of this so I don't have to worry about it. All right, let me go here. Share screen. Let me see. Allow. Participants. No, that's
Or I
not.
can give you the link. Let me see if we can find the link and you can.
Let's see. I'm trying to. I thought I had already said I'm under participants. Let me look at this. There we go. All right, let me find settings under you here.
Okay.
More. Let me say allow. Make host. Allow to record. Allow multi-pin. Waiting room. Remove report. Stop video. Make hosts. Allow to record. Allow to multi-pin. I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, it says you can share your screen. I wonder why. Did you try to share the screen?
Let me see. Hold on.
Yeah, it says you can, so I don't know. I had already
No,
done.
host disabled participant screen sharing. That's what I
What?
get that message.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if that might be my global setting. Let me go over here. Allow to multi-pin, make host. Change the host to international community, TV and radio. Let me, how do I do this? Video, make host. I should, let me see, allow to record, allow to multi-pin, rename, put in the living room. I don't know. It must be in my global settings
Well,
somewhere.
let me give you the. I mean, for
Yeah, sure.
yeah, type. The first thing I want to show you is the freeeducation.us. Go to that website.
Let me share my screen again.
Yeah, if you want to share your screen so that.
All right, let's see. Here we go. Okay, got my old site up here.
So this is a kind of, like a landing page, what we're talking about, that I designed for, which is a little bit motion. I mean, I don't know how.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So I thought, like some of these artistic things might.
Yeah.
So this is one thing that I started like a few months ago because,
You did
I
that for
find.
education. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, because I found out, there's so many free education videos online, as you know,
Yeah.
and they're on YouTube. And some countries, I don't know if you know that, some countries like India, they have now free education in the level of high school even, and not
Yeah.
college even.
See
So
my
there's so
space
many.
guy? See my space guy there?
Yeah, I like that.
Great minds that work alike.
Oh yeah.
This is a site I did for kids for videos.
Oh, that's
And they're
nice.
programming the videos, and then they have the virtual reality, and they can look at, it's similar to what you did, only it's actually got the video playing within it, just like you did.
Mhm.
This was a green screen where I had the kid seeing through the green screen so he could do his own
Oh
green screen. But
yeah.
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about, artistic, something I'm thinking about these things.
Yeah,
Wix has a lot of capabilities of that. That's a good thing
sure,
about Wix. So
sure.
the other thing I want to share with you, I don't know if I have a link here for that, is the thing that I put together like a cemetery online. I know there's so many online cemeteries, but some sort of databases for the Baha'is or, those who have, but with some information on about, like memorial or those type of videos or short obituary or something like that. So I made a website of like that, but the database part of it and making integrated was the kind of challenge. So that might be something that, when we go through these different databases, methods, and so forth, that might be a good idea to promote that also, because I think that
Sure.
would be interesting if we have something that they can, will be available to them, some
Yes.
basic information. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
So
Are you on Storyblocks?
on what?
Storyblocks?
No, what is that?
Okay, Storyblocks has got video, audio, and images, unlimited, for developers and website programmers. And the when you're talking about design and that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
these are all, if I put, I think it like, let me see, Lotus Temple, Lotus Temple, Lotus Temple. All right, I put up Lotus Temple.
Mhm.
There's the Lotus Temple with people visiting it. That's a video. These are all free videos that you can use. They're all common domain, public
Mhm.
domain, and that's all kinds of. So, like you said, there are thousands and thousands of videos, images, stock footage, music, animated backgrounds, After Effects templates to build your own, and all of these different things you can use on your website or change to a GIF or what have you. So,
So
all of these.
these are all copyrighted, no copyright on any
Yeah,
of these?
they're all complete copyright free, license free. You can use any of
Mm.
these that you want. The subscription is, you have to pay annually $400 or $500, but I've got a subscription. You can use any of these you want because it's on any website you want, so you can see there's, when I did the one for the House of Justice, they wanted a bunch of animations. Some of the animations we did custom, but a lot of them you can pull off of these animations kind of things as backgrounds, templates, that kind of things. I mean, there's just hundreds. These are all kinds of, and like you showed
Mhm.
the astronaut there. I mean, you can do, they have galaxies spinning. They have, whatever you
Oh,
want,
that's
just
nice.
beautiful things. There's a flying saucer.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
But there's got science, religion. You've got all the different, and this is probably a lot of Christian stuff. But you'll see some of the ones that I used, the animations on the egolessness site, and in the yeah, in that House of Video Justice video, there was a lot of those. But you can do pushing in and pulling out, as well as and then you can also do that just like Wix does. There's tons and tons of
Mm.
those that you can then import, and you can do the same thing with the with the images that there are all kinds of stock images of just many different categories, just
Mm.
thousands and thousands, just like Getty Images or photo stock or any of those. So, but yeah, so anything you need in terms of, and you can cut those videos down, you can edit them in Movavi, or I can do that for you, and you just tell me how many, like there's a I think there's a 5 gig limit on videos and images on some of the builders. I don't know. I don't think there's on Podia. I think the video is unlimited, but the GIF can only be 5 gig because it's considered to be an image, and yeah,
Mhm.
any of that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
any of this that you need, just let me know and we can pull
Yeah,
that
I'm not
over that you
sure,
like.
what the Apricot has the capability of embedding all these or not.
Sure, they do. Yeah, you
They
could do
do?
videos or YouTubes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like a background where the landing page would be movie or something
sure,
like that. Yeah.
sure, exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I think, I'm gonna, as I said, probably I'm gonna start with educating myself a little bit more about this apricot. So I think that would be a starting point,
Sure.
and then we can go from there and then expand it and then link it to whatever content that you have or some other things. But that could be a simple starting point, and maybe,
Sure.
you know, uh, and then if I appreciate if you could send me this thing that you recorded so that I can look at some of the thing that you mentioned, some of the names like slab or some other thing. If I now
Sure.
all these membership things, you are member or you are using the free things, or should I get the membership also for some of them? I'm not as far as the collaboration with whatever we need to do. Do you want me to get all of these too, in case it would be easier for me to do that, or what?
Well, yeah, you can do those free trials I mean, I'll add you to Slab as a member, and then you can just be on that and do whatever you want with that. If you want your own Slab account to do, then you can do that as a free member and just have guests on that with
Uh-huh.
Slab, for your own thing. So I'll do both. I'll add you to ours, and then you can get whatever other ones you want yourself too. So, I mean, some of them because I'm a nonprofit, I get either free or really low cost on some of the things like SiteGround. It's I'm hosting there until 2022, and that's usually $3,000 or $4,000 for unlimited landing pages and websites. And
Mhm.
I I got a certain segment of those being a nonprofit. So, but yeah, just let me know whatever you
Okay.
need, and then we'll get you on them. And if, you know, if you want to start just you want to play with the Podia builder and start a, you know, a 3-month Podia just try it thing, you know, do it. I'm happy to program for Podia, but if you want to learn it, that's good too. It's not that much different than really doing Apricot. I mean, it's drag and drop, and then you pick your memberships and you define them and that kind of stuff. The long work is the website and designing the pages and making them look good and all that stuff, which obviously you're great at. So it's just, yeah, pick
Yeah.
whatever images you want. And then I think it's good if you show the committee kind of, here's the starting thing I've done, and here's sort of the segments, and here's some of the modules. And they're not that interested in what's going on in the background, all
In
the
the
other stuff.
background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Actually, I'm trying to kind of designing a menu system type of website. It has all these application in the form of menu. Now, one of the things that sometimes, you know, like many people, like the one in those in the board, they want to see everything in one page, all the menu at the top, at the side, or whatever. So I'm trying to have something like that. What are these things that entail? And then we go from there to different, you know, landing pages, we go to different menus, we go to different modules and something like that. So that's, I'm thinking at something to put together as a main thing, and so that they can see it.
Well, on what that would be called on Apricot or on Podia would be a sitemap, and they have a sitemap link that you can click on within Apricot. Anymore, you can't do long menus across the top of the thing. Let me give you an example of that, of one I did that's terrible. This is our home our home landing site. And oh wait, can you see this, or am I sharing?
No, you have to share it.
I'm sorry, let me share again. Okay, can you see that now? Do you see the website there? Oops, I think you muted yourself. I didn't mute you, did I?
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
there. Okay, yeah, so you can see that, right?
Mhm.
Okay, now there's sitemaps in this, but you can see there's these different menus across the top.
Right.
And then it's way too busy. It's not mobile responsive. This is our original pictorial before I did our school site. You know, it's got black chests and black schools. It's got all these things. And on mobile, it does split these up, you know, kind of things. The free video kids, high tune network, and that kind of stuff. And it needs a menu because it's too long for a landing page. It should be shorter. But what they've done with sitemaps now is, and you know, some things you have to push back on the committee, because if they say, I want 50 different things you can click on a menu on mobile, that's just not going to work. I mean, you'll get a hamburger menu and you can kind of look at that. But if you make it too cumbersome, then donors and young people and people that come to it are not going to stay on it. They'll go on their mobile phone, look at it a little, you know, it's young people, it's like over 80% to look on a mobile phone now. So it's like 50% even for adults. So if they come to your site and it's really made just for this, for like a computer, then it's not going to work if you have a big menu like that. So that's why we did that's why we did other landing pages on Weebly and Wix and other kind of stuff that are actually, you know, just like the Podia site, where it's cleaner and the menu items are not being seen there, but you go on the site thing. And that's the same thing with Apricot, that you can, on their site, you can actually do the sitemap when you set it up. You can drag one of the gadgets down so that when you're editing the website, all the pages that you make are within, they're not only mobile friendly and they come on the hamburger menu, all these other pages along here, but you also have the sitemap down here. It's not in your menu yet, but you could build a sitemap that looks like this, where it's actually all the links of the different things and it's your database, whatever, all the stuff you want to do. And that is mobile friendly because that will, as you can see, that rolls down just like a regular mobile would roll down, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So if they're asking for that, you can certainly do that.
Well,
Without,
is there anything like ready-made type of land page that you can have several icons or several things like text that you can just edit it? Or actually, you should, when you're talking about this is a landing page with the text.
yes,
So you can make a landing page with the text
yes,
or
yes, yes.
icon, but it wouldn't be nice. It would be pretty or
Right,
something.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could even build that if you wanted. You could build that separately. That would, yeah, you can make that just a separate place they go to look at everything they want within the site. And you could do that here, or we could do it on Podia, wherever you want it. Yeah, that's definitely you can do that. And then you just check how it looks, how it looks on your phone and make sure that it's,
Right. Right.
yeah,
One thing I noticed in the Apricot, I'm not sure I understand it correctly. They show that in one of these video that they can squeeze the screen and make it for iPhone, something like that. In other words, if you look at your computer
yeah,
and you see the whole web page,
yeah.
you can actually, at the time of editing, you can squeeze your screen and make it the size of an iPhone, and that's how it shows on the iPhone.
Yeah, that's just in your browser. They're
Right.
they're saying you can make your browser look like a phone. It's okay. I think that's their answer to the fact that they don't have the the different views like they do on
Yeah.
Podia where you can actually click it. But yeah, that's true. You can look at it that way.
Yeah.
It's instead of like just looking at all the tablet or the screen or what have you
Right.
on the image. It's the same thing. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wix allows you to also change the thing on your mobile, like the format and everything.
Sure. Sure.
Right. I don't know. The Podia does have that too. Can
Yeah,
you?
Podia does that too. Yeah, because
Oh,
as
okay.
you're editing it, you can edit it in that mode
Mode.
and change anything you want and then say mobile only or what have you for that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Great. Well, I appreciate very much for your time and everything.
Sure. Well, I'm excited to see all the stuff we're doing and get it all moving and all that good stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy that and also if the committee wanted the logo redesigned and stuff like that. So it's just, if you need any help, you can if you want something from Storyblocks or any images, I use Unsplash and Pixabay. I'm sure you use both of those. Those are all free too. So, and I have lots and lots, probably, I don't know, probably 100 different apps of different types of graphic arts and stuff like that. If you need a GIF or if you say, there's these three things, can you put them together? Don't try to do everything. If there's stuff you want graphically or
Sure.
you want something built, you want a GIF done. I do tons of GIFs every day, and my daughter does, let me just do my proud father thing here. We got 8 kids, but let me show you this. Laura
Are they
Craft.
all living in Prescott, or are they living all over the country?
No, unfortunately, all we've got are 2 in the area, Brian and Laura, and they are in Phoenix and then up here in Chino Valley. So, but let's see, I'm probably not screen sharing again. I gotta keep doing this. I don't know what's the matter with me. I keep forgetting. Here we go. Share screen and share. Okay. Yeah, this is my daughter's. You can see that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's her. This is her WordPress site, and she's so smart because she does all kinds of pop-ups. She does. Okay, here's an ad for Vimeo. They know that I was just on Vimeo. Do you want some free printables? It pops up, and so she's got all the plugins and everything that is sale as well as printables. She's got sponsors, many different sponsors like the print-on-demand companies, and that's what. She's expert in this whole area, which is why when Rui was saying, we need some mugs, we need some t-shirts, we need this
that's
stuff.
how it is.
Yeah. So she's got all, and then you've got, your basic, and this all shows on mobile too and all that other stuff. So, and she's always got free things going on social media and, she appears, and she's really big on Pinterest, which is, mostly for women. So although I've got like, I don't know, 4,000 images on Pinterest from Baha'i stuff, because you get a lot of traffic from that and it's free. So, but
And
anyway,
this was made in WordPress, did you say?
Yeah, she's a WordPress expert. So these are all plugins. She's got IFTTT. She's a programmer. So yeah, she basically just builds this all herself from scratch, which I'm real proud of her.
That's
But
right.
yeah, she's way better than I am. But yeah, so yeah, so she's got all kinds of collection templates and that kind of stuff. So if you order something like, if we want to do something for donors, that's something nice,
That
the
would,
honor
yeah,
roll or whatever, you know, she's got all the best companies that she works with for print on demand
sure.
and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, she's a resource. She helped me do the both or actually the Baha'u'llah's bicentenary video. When the house said, yeah, do a 13-minute version of it, she and I worked on it together. And it's funny because you had videos, but oh my gosh, this is a professionally done Hollywood video. And you know, when you bring it into Premiere, video that we're doing, you know, you and I might be making, we might have 2 cameras, we'll have an audio track and maybe whatever. We pulled that in and it was like 26 tracks. It was like a professional Hollywood movie where it had all the different languages, all the different captions, sound effects, video effects were separate. So, wow, we got in and we're like, wow, did we bite off more than we could chew in making this movie? You know, so yeah, it was really interesting. But
yeah, actually, we should put the set aside like a time to talk about this TV, because I had the Baha'i World TV,
yeah,
which is now BW TV, and also
yeah.
I was thinking about the Baha'i World Vision TV. So I'm not, and then we have the idea of the public TV. So
Yeah.
maybe we should set aside and sometime talk about it to see if we can do something in that respect too.
Yeah, Baha'i
Together.
PBS. I love that. I've been wanting to do that forever. I mean,
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
all the domains. I started the sites and I started working with Netflix. And now Amazon has announced their, you know, with their own Amazon VR TV that they're looking for content. So yeah, the time is really good to get started with. COVID got everybody watching out of their homes.
Oh yeah. So you can, I mean, do you know how you can go on Netflix and these kind of stuff? Do you know that, how to go there?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, see, it's the same as, let's see if I can find the, maybe my dashboard's off here. Let's see if I can get this down here. Get this over here. So let's see. This is a master site on Transistor. You can see this laundry list, right? Yeah. So this with our podcasts, with one click of each episode, all these things get the feed. And that's the way they have, just like you have your distribution in Canada that does the worldwide thing. Netflix is on that now too, with their own video transistor systems and their video systems. So we get iTunes, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, Podcasts, Castro, all those instantly at once. And once you do one time, then all your podcasts go to all of them. And then they just make the decisions on when it shows up, what time, and that kind of stuff. Same thing with Netflix, with Amazon TV, with Fire TV on Apple. You know, there's like 30 or 40 of those. So, as you said last time, there's some with boxes, some that don't have boxes, you know, but there's many new, less than premium ones. Like, for instance, YouTube TV is a real big one now. So you can actually, yeah, as we produce each kind of show, and I've been doing this with chess, kind of on our chess channels, trying to do, because it's become very popular with a lot of young people. There's 100 million players in the world now, and a lot of young people are getting back into it because of Twitch. So it's a great time to kind of tie that back to, and I've got our own Baha'i chess that we've invented. It's got, you know, it's a 9x9 instead of an 8x8 board. It's a special kind that we're programming. And yeah, so that's got its own kind of feeds to it. But I would love to do things where people could tune in and, you know, read the writings and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's, we should talk about how we could put that together, because it's all basically OBS and, you know, what you're doing already. It's just a matter of, you know, choosing the topics kind of like we were doing with the courses there and what people are interested in.
Right. Okay. Sounds very good. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Well, listen, I'll catch up with you on our next Zoom.
And if you can send the, you know, like this copy,
I will.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll post this and you can look at it on Vimeo.
Thank you very much.
All righty.